everyone, it's me again, and various plushies are behind me. So today we're going to do kind of like a fun video after this like seemingly disastrous live stream I just did for 2 hours. And we're going to talk about Foodie Beauty, Flobby Bobby, Chantal Marie, Chantal Show, Chantal period, Chantal Al Refae. I feel like I'm still missing one. Bees Are Incorporated or something like that. Chantal and Salah, something ASMR. The reaction channel and Chantal reacts back or something like that, and Miriam something. So yes, in Zachary Michael fashion, name as many of the names that Chantal has gone with as humanly possible. But today we're just going to talk about the kind of Chantal's recent, and I don't know how else to explain it, but the diabetes arc. On my channel, there is me reacting to a couple of the videos from before, so that I can give you kind of like the context for the beginning part and kind of everything that's going on with that. Now, that live stream, it was about H Bomber guy, and I had some criticisms that people were not into. And I'm still going to try to make the video, but go into it with an open mind. That's all I ask, because I can have one criticism of a video that you like and it not be the end of the world, please. Thank you. That is all. Let us get into it, because in a very short period of time, interestingly enough, in December, who would have thought it would be December, Foodie Beauty started talking about a diabetes diagnosis, despite the fact that she's definitely just had diabetes for years and ignored it. She literally said she cured it. You can't cure diabetes. She has joined an MLM. She's done, I would argue, 2 troll videos, at least. She has decided to return to Canada and now has done travel vlogs and things, and is now back in Canada in the the famous Kia. So we're going to talk about the videos and how everything's been going on, and also this kind of way that what she's done is she's decided to almost exploit her own illness. So with that being said, we're just going to do a brief synopsis of all of the videos and this sort of arc, and then have a final discussion. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start with I'm going to Canada, because new arc incoming I did react to on a live stream. I will put the live stream in the description, and you will be able to look at it when you wish. So one says, I'm going to Canada. This one opens with this sort of weird, breathy, whispery opening thing once you get past the 40 seconds of plugs and cameo thing. And she describes the fact that she needs to go back to Canada due to the access to healthcare. This is despite the fact that Chantal has dogged on Canada for months and months and said that our healthcare is really bad and the private healthcare in Kuwait is good and blah, 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 blah. This is just another instance of Chantal just trying to fit whatever possible narrative there is whenever it presents itself, because to her, it's impossible to be wrong about anything and just move the goalposts constantly. So essentially what has happened, to catch those up that are not watching my streams and things like that, is that Chantal in 2021 was at her highest weight ever, about 400 pounds. She was essentially just like doing constant daily fast food mukbangs, and then she got diabetes as a result of presumably the eating habits, and then she was put on Ozempic. What ended up happening was she started shacking up with the infamous Nader Al-Shami, who commits SA allegedly, DA allegedly, a criminal in pretty much every sense of the imagination, is just a horrible, decrepit, disgusting human being. And he started doing certain illicit drugs with Chantal. So Chantal lost a bunch of weight doing an ingredient that used to be in Coca-Cola in the 1900s, and Ozempic at the same time. This is clearly not recommended nor a good idea, obviously. That caused the weight loss, and then because of the weight loss, very rapid weight loss rather, to her at least, maybe the symptoms regulated, because she wasn't regularly checking her blood sugars. I don't know how she presumed that her diabetes was cured. Anywho, recently in Kuwait, she had numbers that were so high that they weren't even on the chart anymore. We're talking, the chart ends at 380. The unit that she uses, I'll put on the screen because I don't remember. And then she had 416. So I'm gonna let the doctors in chat look at that one with shock, because that body needs to be studied by science. So then she talks about, in the video I'm going to Canada, just about how she needs to shape up, change her health, and improve her life because of the issues that she's brought upon herself. And it's interesting because she constantly inches back and forth between wanting to blame other people and blaming, and then actually like taking responsibility herself.
you know, I know that I have to bring those numbers down. But like I said, right now I just don't really care. I just don't care about anything. I just feel really tired of everything, fed up.
And that's kind of the video. It's just a really simple sit-down video. It's only a little bit more than 10 minutes long. Obviously, a bit of grinding out about the haters. And a ton of awkward silence. And, like, heavy breathing for some reason. Like, I'm talking, like, 30 seconds at a time. That she doesn't cut, by the way. It's really easy to cut it. Just wanted to mention. It's weird because there is a jump cut to more weird, awkward silence. She talks about the Life by Jen documentary by Mr. Snowflake and how sad she is due to what happened to her, despite the fact that Chantal went on many wheelchair-induced rages about Life by Jen and treated her horribly towards the end of her life. So that ends that video. Then we move on to the Making My Life Better with Unicity. I reacted to this on the stream, so I'm going to make this very brief. And I will put in the clip of me going through the Unicity products. Are proven to improve health, help with weight loss, and blood sugar levels. Referred by Sala. I remember one thing I learned in my scientific literature course is like proven is like a really big red flag, because proven would mean that in all instances it works, right? Like breathing keeps you alive is proven, but things like this can't really be proven. So it does say when to eat, kind of. It says dinner there and lunch there. So you're also only on 2 meals a day. No snacks. So that's the thing, right? Is like they'll do these things, the rhetoric moment, MLMs like this, what they'll do is they'll be like, it's a weight loss regimen, right? So they'll give you all these calorie-free things. Like, I'm a big water talk girl. I love it. I don't care, Curtis Connor. Get off my ass. Anyway, like, you know, you have those Crystal Light packets and shit. Like, essentially, they're saying have 2 of these, but then also only eat 800 calories a day. Girl, it's not the packs that are doing it. It's the 800 calories a day. That's why that's why you're losing weight, because you're starving yourself. Like, that's what they do, really. Like, look, it's 2 meals, no snacks. So of course you're like, let's say you're artificially filling yourself up before your meal, right? So you're also going to eat less of it. Just fasting from 8 p.m. to noon would help you lose weight. Exactly. So it's like, the thing is, let's say you're Chantal, right? You were eating all the way through here. And if you're no longer eating through there, and you're only eating twice, and then you're also artificially filled up before you're eating, and you're not even eating, like, let's say, like, full portions compared to what you were doing before, then of course you're going to lose weight. This is like Nutrisystem stuff, or Optavia, or Amway, or Beachbody. Like, it's, yeah, literally just drink a glass of water. Now, this video is Chantal plugging the Unicity stuff as if it's like this great health cure, despite the fact that she never actually tried it and is reviewing it on video. So Chantal's doing somehow a recommendation / first impression video at the same time, especially when it's products that are supposed to like regulate blood sugars over time. So that is a big silly and not making a lot of sense. So that's kind of that on the Unicity video, and now we'll move on to the burrito bowl and chatting and the best makeup tutorial in history videos. I'm just going to pair both of these together. The new health problem is back pain that she's getting from presumably her weight and the issues that have come across to that, and talking about how she needs to improve her health, but this Unicity thing is seemingly a miracle, almost implying that she was trying not to go back to Canada and stay in Kuwait, but I think this was not true or honest in any capacity. Rather, it was designed to dissuade people from figuring out when she'll come back to Canada. Best makeup tutorial in history, kind of just a troll video. Really bad makeup. She put mascara in her eyebrows. It was Now we get to the video that no one reacted to or talked about because it was so obviously a troll, so I'll just do it because someone's got to at least say something. I Lied About My Weigh-In is an entirely and poorly acted video that is just a troll about how she says that she put her stomach on the edge of the scale so that it took off over 100 pounds, and that in reality, instead of being 366 pounds, she is 533 pounds.
So, I'm not 366 pounds. Made a deal with the doctor. When I went to see him for the second time at the checkup, I said, I didn't weigh myself on camera the last time, and you know, I have a lot of haters, and I really want to prove them wrong. They're all I think about all day. This would make my life if I could just prove to them that I'm not 400, 500 now. I'll get to my real weight in a minute. So I offered that morning. I made some really amazing deviled eggs, and there was about 7 kg on the wall unit in front of the TV. So I brought that to the appointment, and I put those eggs and 7 kg on his desk, and I said, listen, what can you do for me? So he had one bite of those eggs and he accepted. The trick is paprika. So I did everything I could to reduce my weight. I was very deceptive. I held onto the bookcase. I held onto the nurse, and I put my right foot slightly on the gurney. My gut was touching the scale, which took off about 90 pounds. So you're all right. You're all right. My actual weight, when I turn the camera off, I don't even want to say it. I'm actually 535 pounds. So.
Video was painfully unfunny, horribly smug, and really distasteful, because the fact that you're trying to brag that you're almost 400 pounds instead of 500 pounds is really not a brag, I feel like, in this context, especially the fact that these plethora of issues that are self-inflicted entirely are your own being, and instead of wanting to take any responsibility for them, you take your time to have infighting with people on the internet as a means of deflecting any criticism towards yourself, despite the fact that at the end of the day, you're the one that deals with all of these issues, and you're the one that also deals with seemingly having no actual, like, meaningful life connections as a result of your own actions. So these smug videos will always drive me up the wall, because I'm genuinely like, what are you smug about? Please, I'm begging you. Next, what I ate today, binge free. I think this is something that's speculated by a lot of people, that is a way of evading YouTube's new policy on binge eating, and saying that essentially what happens is that if you are doing these types of habits online, that you will have your videos taken down, because there's no more ED-based behaviors allowed on the platform, but that includes binge eating disorder as well. So that is pretty much it. She talks about how she wants to go back to Canada, or how she will be ending up going back to Canada, and the steps that she needs to take, how much she's going to miss the people around, and her pets are being watched by Salah, yada. Now I've got the 2 videos in Canada, so this is going to be a new chapter in the video, specifically these ones. And I want to talk about this because her 24-hour journey to Kuwait is essentially just from Kuwait rather, is essentially just a review of the Emirate Airlines, but also a conversation about how she's so horribly out of shape that traveling is too difficult and she won't do it for a long time. Now, it has been heavily speculated that her visa, that she never was actually married to Salal. It has been highly speculated that she's never actually been married to Salah, and this is because, really weirdly, conveniently, every 3 months she comes back, or she leaves to some regard, or has random, even if it doesn't seem like she's leaving, there are videos that seem to be clearly pre-filmed that start playing for a little while, which seems really convenient for someone who has to leave every 3 months, but I digress. And it's interesting that she sort of sets up this notion of that, oh, I can't travel for a really long time. I won't be able to return for a really long time because of my health, and why I need to come back to Canada. In very weird timing, because there's also speculation that she had a year-long contract with Salah for whatever reason, which is, I think that's like really deep, like conspiracy stuff, to be honest with you. But 1 year was like 10 days ago. 1 year ago was, a month and 10 days ago. So I think that's a very interesting timeline here. And when you go into the video about what's next for me, she's getting an apartment in Canada. And leases in Canada are very hard to break, especially in Ontario. Good Lord. And the apartments in Ontario are so expensive. They are so horribly expensive. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in a lot of cities in Ontario is over $2,000 a month, is something that is not to be taken lightly. And Chantal, with only having to troll about diabetes to get over 15K views, but on average gets less than 10, an apartment in Canada for, let's say, $2,000 a month is going to be a stretch, especially if she's paying anything off with Salon Kuwait or anything like that. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. Chantal talks about how essentially she had to take up 2 seats in the airplane and that it was a big issue. and that she plans on doing some Canada content and beezing.
And also looking for my own place. I haven't had my own apartment fully on my own. So I think I lived alone for a very short period of time, and then I got a roommate a long time ago. I think I need to do that. I want to have my own little place, even if it's just a studio or like a small 1-bedroom. Rent is so expensive here these days. I was looking like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm prepared for that, have everything I need for that. I don't know what the future holds, but we will see. So yeah, it's bittersweet. I miss my husband so much and my pets. By the way, my pets are being super taken care of by Salah. He's the pet dad. Don't worry about them. And someday we will be reunited, inshallah.
So we'll see how long it takes for the wheelchairs to come back. Another thing is she's reunited with her infamous Kia, which I think is very slay and epic. I think that's awesome. I love the Kia is funny to me. It's just such an heirloom of those who are, like me, way too far into the foodieverse. So yeah, that's like a really rapid fire update on Chantal. But now we'll move into the final part of the video where we're going to talk about the nature of her use of the illness and stuff like that. So something that I have noticed to be common with Chantal is she wants to put these eras where something drastic changes in order to drive attention to her and these events rather than her and her statements and actions. So if we go back to 2020, when she was getting a lot of flack for her kind of attitude, especially specifically towards reaction channels and how angry she'd get and how disrespectful she'd be, and she'd say things that were racist a lot of the time. So doing a lot of things like that, having these fights with Charlie Gold as well at the time, into 2021 as well. When her and BB break up, the focus comes to like this big breakup arc and moving and bringing Pete's in and this sort of distraction tactic. And then when that era starts to get boring for people, all of a sudden she's dating. She's bringing us along for this journey. And then that starts to get dull. So then now all of a sudden she brings the man on that she's seeing the most. And this begins what's called the Natter era, which went from 2021 into late 2022. Then the thing is that when that was starting to grow stale, a lot of the what are called very important peasers, which are her members, started to leave. Then all of a sudden she fully flipped script, got with a Muslim guy, converted and everything, and moved to Kuwait. But then the thing with Kuwait was all she did was sit on the floor with a blue couch behind her and eat. And because of this shift in religion, which also ended up involving a shift in essentially personality because of the need for the modesty, then what drew people to her, which was the messiness, which isn't just, she always tries to bring it to the Natter era part. That's the reason why people want that, and that's our fault for wanting that or whatever. She's been messy since like 2017 or whenever she became popular. When she was doing her mukbangs, which got her best views normally, because if we do popular video, mukbang, eating shioi, cheesy lasagna, cheeseburger, and zucchini, a lot of these videos, she's like farting, and she's talking about these like really, really gross stories about like a man who was predatory towards her when she was a minor. That was one of them. And then there was another one about pooping her pants after when she hooked up with a guy in a motel room or something like that, or maybe not a motel room, but she hooked up with a guy. And it's just, another one too. Oh my god, the second most popular video on her channel, it says first time trying Sonic. Y'all, I remember that. That was peak COVID. Like that was, she went all the way to, let's see when this was. Comments are turned off. February 13th, 2020. So sorry, this was just before the pandemic started, but there were inklings of things going south. I remember at that point. And it's just funny because she drove all the way to America just to have Sonic. She did it again when the pandemic was in full swing and got really mad at people for commenting on it. So yeah, I remember October 25th, 2020. So the third, one of the more popular ones, first time trying Jollibee. She is having these, she's going across the border, doesn't have her vaccine information if she even got them, because that's also debatable to some degree. And then she proceeds to like rage at everybody for getting mad at her for going to the United States, which at the time had far, 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 far worse COVID cases than here. And then again, so she'll do these horrible, irresponsible things and then try to juxtapose them with some sort of new era so that people don't understand. And to some degree, when the eras were just making a fool of herself, which this one still is to a big degree, it was comical. But now it's like she's making a joke out of like diabetes and doing like false health claims and essentially saying that she'll find a way to like cure diabetes, which isn't possible, especially with like the integrating the MLM thing. And I think what's interesting about this era too is that her subscriber count is climbing. She was at 96.1, I believe, when I streamed, and now she's at 96.3, and that's only been a couple of days. So that's going to bring in a new factor into this whole ordeal, especially that she's looping people into this like off-putting misinformation arc in relation to a pretty serious disease. But again, because she's so comical to the people who know her well, the popularity will still be driven by people watching and people like myself who are commenting on it. But I just think that she's such an interesting enigma that I wanted to do a little conversation video about it. And yeah, that's that on that. Links, sources, ways to support the channel, all that kind of stuff all down below, along with an email to suggest longer form content. Thank you to my members and patrons. I'll put their names on the screen. And I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.
Yeah.